All right, question.
Good afternoon.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
What's this week been like for the offense as you guys have gone through everything?
It's been a good week thus far. I mean, you get to play a game, you get to uncover some warts that you need to work on, and I think our guys have done a nice job. Our coaches have done a really nice job of attacking things that we need to get fixed. You know, from just the personnel getting on and off the field, from sideline to the huddle to the play calls to everything. It's improved.
What has practice been like for the wide receivers without IGC?
It's an opportunity for young guys to step up. We got a bunch of young receivers that have an unbelievable ability and can help us, and this is an opportunity that they're going to have to show what they can do.
Probably prepared for a version of Colorado in the offseason. What you saw on film, how similar was that, and how helpful now has it been to have a tape?
It is similar. I mean, you got to go back some years. When Coach Kelly was a defense coordinator at other stops, and but it is very similar to what we expected. You turn the tape on, you see guys flying around, some physically gifted, very competitive, tough, athletic guys on defense.
What were 2 or 3 key teaching points that you had from Jeff after the first game?
Just trust his training. Trust his training. He was under control. I thought he had an unbelievable game from a competitive standpoint. Like, I knew he would be able to use his feet, and we could use him in the quarterback run game. But I wasn't aware he would run that physical. Like, he was a physical runner the other night. And that was good to see, and I think that's something he can build on. And then, obviously, we, not he, but we are going to continue to, just taking care of the football and keeping the football out of harm's way.
With those young receivers, Jalen was a guy who did get out there. What did he do since he got here to put himself in position to play right away?
Just consistent. I mean, the number one thing is you got to know what to do, and just, he knows what to do. On top of that, he's very athletic and, has a lot of speed and has tremendous ball skills and can help us. So, it was a no-brainer for us to get him out there as soon as we could and just, get him going.
You didn't mention what do you feel like you can do, your operation can do to help you out more?
I think too many times people isolate the individual. I think it's layers of coaching and training that we have to continue to do each day. I mean, each position group has to do their job to make sure the receivers run the routes at the right depths, the offensive line protects them, the backs protects them. So I think collectively we're all in it together to make sure that everybody on our offense maximizes their ability and their talents, and we've got to do that with Jeff as well.
Did you have the entire all of the full-time assistant coaches on the field?
No, Josh Martin was up in the box.
How did you feel like that operation in Game 1 went with just getting all the plays in, working a new clock system that people hadn't been used to? How did you feel like it went?
I think it went well. I mean, there was no issues from that standpoint. The information was getting to us, and I thought there was good communication amongst our staff. So there was no issues with that.
What was it like making that adjustment to the new clock rules?
I really didn't notice it until halftime, and you had 3 possessions in one half. That was kind of weird to have just that limited amount, to have the ball that limited amount of time. But I didn't really notice it throughout the first half at all.
Hey, Marcus, Coach Hill talked after the simulated game a week before Thursday about trying to eliminate that period between week 1 and week 2 when you make the most improvement. Taking that into account, some of the situational stuff at the end of both halves, how do you feel like having been through that now can help you go on the road again?
It's amazing, and Coach is amazing at situational football. I mean, he's so smart, and just the things that he puts us in, the situations he puts us in practice. Like, we didn't see anything the other night that we hadn't done multiple times. I think it was great that we got a 2-minute drive right before the half, and we had a situation where there was 11 seconds on the clock, and we had a timeout, and we made decisions to try to get touchdowns and take care of the football, and we've got to do a better job of taking care of football at that point. But we get to learn from that moment. And then at the end of the game, we're starting the drive with 7 minutes and kind of a 4-minute mode, mindset of run the football, stay on the field, try to keep their offense off the field, and then all of a sudden we have a turnover, and then it flips and it goes from we're in 4 minutes to now we're in 2 minutes. So there was a bunch of situations that happened. Our kids, they didn't freak out. They were able to just keep their poise and tried to execute their way through it. But there's a lot to learn from, and we had 3 really good situational moments in the game the other night.
I guess it's kind of self-evident, but why were you surprised that Jeff ran that physically? Just not run that?
I mean, I knew he was going to, like the spring, he was live, but they wouldn't hit him, It wasn't like he was running through tackles and things. It felt really different to me out there on the field. Like he ran a counter the one time and 2 guys came and hit him, and he kind of delivered a blow and popped up, and it was just, I thought it was pretty cool. He wasn't trying to slide, and we wanted to take care of himself and slide when he needs to. But I mean, he was running through tackles the other night. I mean, it sounded different out there.
How important is it that you establish a physical identity in this game? The line of scrimmage with the tailbacks early on, just the way last week's game started, just didn't have a rhythm, obviously, for your offense to start things out.
Yeah, I mean, last week we started with a quarterback sneak the first play of the game. That was kind of crazy, but it is crucial. Our guys got going a little bit more last week as the game went on, and that's how any good run game should be. Like, these are Big Ten, Pac-12 opponents that we're playing, so you're not just going to put the ball down and just run through them initially. The way that we play, it's a collective amount of body blows that take place during a game that eventually you try to wear on a defense, try to wear on the defensive front, where you can start popping those runs, kind of like we did in the second half.
Okay. Evaluate the offensive line, and what's the next step for that group?
They just have to keep on coming to work. I mean, they hold us together on offense. So those guys have played a lot of football, and we lean on them a lot for a lot of different things. But I thought they did a nice job in the run game. We had all 3 sacks that we had were in a 6-play sequence during the game the other night, and like one of them was actually a run RPO type deal where he kind of got stuck in the read. So I was proud of how they protected, and I was proud of them in the run game. I thought they did a nice job of creating holes for our guys.
You're good at catching that pass. What's his skill set? What are your expectations for him as a pass catcher?
He's just super athletic, so I mean, we just need to get him out there on the field. If it's not playing quarterback, he doesn't need to just sit over there with us, and wait his turn. So he can help us in a bunch of different ways, and moving forward, we'll continue to try to find ways to get him out on the field.
Coach Rule said after this week, Billy's a guy you obviously want to get going. As a coordinator, do you look at individual numbers like Gabe got the ball 7 times, you want to get him more, or is every week just a different animal?
Yeah, we were trying, we were talking at halftime. We would come out and run, this play, to try to get Billy going because we were where he hadn't touched the ball, and we didn't get it done. The ball didn't get to him, so that's something that we've got to do this week. We got to make sure that our guys touch the ball. Like he's too valuable of a playmaker, not just a receiver. He has to have the ball in his hands, whatever it takes to get it in there.
What have you seen? I mean, you said you're pretty familiar with Colorado's defense based on what Chark has done before. What do you think the key is to attacking that scheme?
I think it's like with anyone. I mean, you got to run the football. Like I thought TCU the other day did a really nice job. They ran the football. You think of them as a throwing team, but they really ran it well. And I think you have to take care of the football. These guys do a tremendous job of punching the ball. Like we showed a video to our guys the other day or yesterday, just how they attack the football, how they put their face on the football and knock the balls out. They did it a couple times the other day at TCU, and we got to do a great job of ball security when we're carrying the ball and not let it happen to us.
What element can Tommy add when you can throw him out at wide receiver?
Just really fast, speedy. Hopefully we can continue to let his role grow, gradually through the season. But I think he gives us an athletic component, speed component that gives us an added boost right now.
Anything else, guys? How's Anthony Grant looking?
He's looking good. He's looking good. Nobody wants to turn the ball over or fumble the ball. I mean, it's not affected how he works. It's not affected how he approaches his day. So we trust all of our guys, and he'll have an opportunity moving forward at some point this year to vindicate himself.
What are you expecting for the atmosphere, just with the crowd, the stage, being on the road 2 weeks in a row? How prepared will you be at least for some noise?
Well, I think last week was a lot. I didn't know it was going to be that loud. That was a pretty hostile environment, and every one of our possessions started, it seemed like, down there in the student section, so it got pretty loud. So I think that's going to help us, as we go into this adventure. That it's not going to shock our guys. We've been in that situation before. It's not in the indoor with music playing or fake crowd noise. We had real crowd noise, so I think that'll help us. But I think it'll be a cool environment. A lot of energy. It's what you do this game. It's why you play this game. It's why you coach this game and work like we do, just to have opportunities to do things like this.
Gabe had any romantic area. Is there going to be emphasis maybe, and you talk about running the ball, just getting him the ball a little bit more?
Yeah, and getting them in flow. Any ball carrier, like you if he's rolling, you want to keep feeding him the rock and let him get in the rhythm.
All good.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Questions? How'd you like your secondaries performance against each other?
I thought we did a good enough job to be in the game. I don't think we did a well enough job to win the game. So back to the drawing board.
What kind of challenge are you expecting just with the amount of playmakers Colorado has?
Yeah, it's a tremendous talent or challenge. They're one of the best teams in the country. It's not just one or two players. It's not just a tempo. Like, they have really good players all over the field, and they're going to challenge us. They're explosive. They take shots. They have really good athletes, fast people. You know, it's going to be a tremendous challenge and an opportunity for us. You know.
So it sounds like you weren't maybe surprised by what happened with Colorado. Colorado against TCU.
Yeah, I don't. It's hard to be surprised. I mean, all those guys do is win. You know, they've always been successful. Like, their coach is one of the greatest players of all time. Like, he's an achiever. Like, I don't understand the surprise, but for me, it's just all football, and they made more plays than the other guys.
What's the key, just from a technique standpoint, in defending those deep balls that they're bouncing through?
Anytime you have your back to the football as a DB, it's tough. We just got to go and be ready for, you know, what we see on tape, and just try to play the ball and play his hands and get in good position and make plays when we need to.
How hard is it for a guy like Travis Hunter to play all the snaps he did on both offense and defense at a high level like he did?
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious that he's a different human, right? He's a different kind of guy. Like, he's like his coaches say, he's one of those guys. He's him. So it's hard to play 50 snaps, 60 snaps. It's definitely hard to play 100 and you say 30? Man, that's a tough deal. So that was a good job by him and his coaches and his training staff and his athletic performance people, all of that. It's a good job by them.
What did you like about your defensive backs in the first game?
The same things I've liked since I got here. Like, those guys want to win. They want to play hard. They want to be physical. We didn't have any MAs, any coverage busts, and I thought we tackled well when it was time for us to tackle. I thought we played well in a bunch of spots. Just unfortunately, we play a position where you can't have a bad play. You know, we don't have that level of, you know, it's not okay, right? So if a D lineman makes a mistake, then we can still get the ball on the ground, or if they get beat, or if a linebacker gets beat, we can still get the ball on the ground. If a DB gets beat, the entire world knows it. But that's life, though. You know, like, that's just how it is playing DB.
What are the things you want to tighten up then?
To be honest, man, I really take the same approach every day. I'm not like a reactionary coach. You know, we preach the same things every day, and whether we won 100-0 and gave up 0 yards, or we lost 100-0 and gave up 10,000 yards, it would be the same thing. The everyday things that I talk about, you know, and that's really it, you know.
The Minnesota receiver made a great play, obviously, on that 4th and 10.
Yeah.
How do you attack that one in particular with Malcolm? I mean, is it just the guy beat him there?
Yeah.
I know he made an inside move, went out, obviously
Yeah.
gets his foot in bounds. Like, when you're coaching that on film, where do you start?
I tell Malcolm and whoever else gets beat, that's on me. If I didn't put him in that position to where his reaction to that is second nature, then I didn't do a good enough job. The only thing that they must bring is their effort and their discipline and their violent nature. Like, everything else is on me. So that is what it is. I got to do a better job of putting him in that situation and making sure that he aligns where he needs to align, and that is solely on me.
It's a big week for Quentin Newsome this week, obviously going against like Hunter and their other receivers. How have you seen him kind of embrace that moment going throughout this week?
If I'm a good coach at all, those guys come with the same attitude every day, right? Like, again, like, DB is a position where I'm not a very good athlete, but if I catch one of our DBs with the wrong eyes or the wrong leverage, I could probably catch a ball on them. So, again, they have great players. I think I have competitive players that will be ready to make plays and go to war, and we'll see how it turns out. We'll have bad plays. I'm sure of it. It happens every game. So I don't want him to get too high. I don't want him to get too low. I just want to have him take the same approach that he's taken since the spring, since I got him. You know, I'm proud of him, and I'm proud of the rest of the group.
Coach, how chaotic could it be on the field for a DB when an offense needs to go as fast as Colorado showed its team in TC?
If it wasn't real chaotic for defenders, I'm not sure they would do it. Going fast is hard for everyone. We just got to take a deep breath and make sure that we're preparing and hydrating and getting in the best shape we can and putting our bodies in the best position to be successful on Saturday. And it's going to be a challenge for us. This is why they do it.
What are you expecting just from the scene, the atmosphere in Boulder for Deion Sanders' first home game there?
Not gonna lie to you, I don't have any expectations. The scenery and the fandom, none of that's for me. You know, I just want my guys to play well. I want us to play well as a defense, and I want us to play well as a team. I don't get really caught up in much else. Respectfully.
What we saw out of Omar Brown and Sean Singleton, is that what you've been seeing pretty much throughout?
Yeah, I'm not surprised at those guys at all. I see it every single day. I wish you could be a fly on the wall in my meeting room with the level of like intent and detailed and like legitimate questions and recall and just preparation and just like those guys are everything that I've ever wanted to coach. So I'm not surprised by any of that. I'm not surprised by Omar's success. Like I said, it happened with Giff around the spring game, the light hit, and it's been on. Now it's a floodlight. And same thing with Omar. Like, I expect those guys to just keep getting better because they figured it out. They know what I want. They know what I expect. And now, as me, as a standard setter, I feel like those guys are trying to go above the standard that I set. So eventually I have to raise it. We'll see what happens.
So is that the next challenge then after this past game? You raise the standard?
Yep. If you talk to me next week, I'll be trying to raise it again. And eventually you get to a point where we play lights out football and we help the team win.
This situation and the altitude, the tempo that they like to play, if they have the ball for a lot of plays, do you anticipate needing your depth even more than you did?
Yeah. Well, every week I talk to the guys that are not starters about proving to me on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday how much they want to be in. I talk to them about I don't really control the depth chart or how much they play. I think they do. So we got some guys trying to step up this week because they know, if we play 90 plays, I can't expect the starters to play 90 plays. Hopefully it doesn't come down to 90 plays, but if it does, then I have to put some of those guys in. So hopefully today and tomorrow and Friday they show me they deserve to be in.
I know you're on the defensive side of the ball, but how have you seen Jeff Sims respond in practice against you guys?
I treat Jeff like I treat all of my players. Like, we just go one day at a time. And I don't think he has to overreact. I think, again, that's a position where things are magnified and mistakes, the margin of error is this small, and one mistake could end up on YouTube and Twitter and that. So he's, again, just going to attack it and get in his drills and work on what his coach tells him to work on. I have a lot of confidence in Jeff. One or two different outcomes and then we having a different conversation, right? But again, that's football. The margin of error for that position and the DB position is, unfortunately, really small.
All good.
All right. Good. No problem. Have a good day. What's up?
Blake, what kind of opportunity is this for your defense to play against an offense like Colorado's?
Yeah, it's a big opportunity. Every week's an opportunity, right, to show what we're about, to show how we train. So we're really priding ourselves on our preparation and taking it one step at a time. And we're looking to have a great week this week.
I don't think people in the program want to talk about the altitude, but I assume there's something you guys are doing to get ready for it.
We're doing a great job of just training how we train. Football's football at the end of the day, and we're focused on that.
With Ty out for the first half, how do you guys manage that as a D-line?
Yeah, so as a D-line group, we got to focus on having everybody ready to go. We've been doing a great job with our young guys. Been proud of how they've prepared and how they've worked. Thought I saw some really good things out of them in the game. And everybody's got to be ready to go. And then Ty's been doing a great job of leading in the room as well.
That situation up front, the way that you guys are able to move, an end to the middle or, a jack to the end, you're pretty versatile with
yeah.
3-man line, 4-man line. How does that maybe help count
Yeah.
that loss? Not having a guy like Ty for 30 minutes?
Yeah, I think it always keeps the offense on their toes because we're moving around so much. We're not just staying in a certain alignment and staying there for the play. So I think the amount that we shift certainly helps. We can kind of play around that fact and hide that loss of Tyrod.
Did you find yourself after he went out moving to the middle a little bit more? How did anything change at all for you after that?
Nothing changed in a huge regard. Me and Cam can both do a large amount of things, so nothing changed too much for me.
For you, how patient have you had to be just to get to this point? You've been here 4 years. And
Yeah.
That was kind of your first real big moment as a Husker to be on the field that much.
Yeah, it was a big moment for me. I pride myself in my work ethic, my day-to-day grind to get to where I am today, and just got to keep taking one step at a time, and keep grinding and focus on the right now.
What's your level of awareness with this Colorado-Nebraska rivalry?
So I didn't grow up a Nebraska fan growing up, but I did watch the game in 2019 when I was a recruit. So obviously saw it was a really cool atmosphere for us at Nebraska, and that's really my current awareness. I know it's a huge rivalry for us, and I'm really excited, but I'm just focused on the game.
Minnesota and Colorado, in terms of the offensive game, just two completely different styles of play. Is there any kind of different preparation for you specifically in your position and how you're getting ready?
Yeah, I think obviously they run a lot of quick game stuff, so we're preparing ourselves in that regard. We watched their game against TCU last week, and we're preparing accordingly. So our coaches are doing a really good job of preparing us, for that battle, and I'm excited to get out there.
We heard all about Nash all off. Seemed like he played really well the other night.
Yeah.
How just having a guy like that?
Yeah, as a roommate, as a guy who I've really been alongside the whole time I've been here, it was really cool to see him out there. I'm proud of him. It was really cool to see his little sack celebration after he got that. So I couldn't be more proud of Nash, and I know how hard he works. And, I personally see his day in, day out grind. So it's cool to see that come to fruition. But at the end of the day, we got a lot of work to do.
Anything else for place? All right. Thank you. Thanks. Questions? So once you had an opportunity to kind of rewatch the game and maybe go back through all of the plays, what was your final assessment of your play? What did you like about what you did, and what frustrated you about your play?
I would say the biggest thing that frustrated me was that I didn't come through when my team needed me. Obviously I had the 2 interceptions in the first half, but you got to look past that stuff, and you got to come through when the team needs you, and that's something I didn't do, so that kind of stuck with me.
Carried it 19 times. That surprised you how much you ran it, or is that sort of your expectation that might be your load every week?
I don't really go into the game expecting and trying to figure out what I'm going to do. I kind of just be in the moment. So if that's what I need to do to help us win, that's kind of what I'm going to do.
How much have you watched that Minnesota tape over just to kind of study some of the things that you want to improve on this one?
Most definitely. I've watched it a couple times, just looking at different things, different factors, and things that I can get better on. Even the things that I did good, just seeing how I can perfect those things. So just constantly trying to get better.
Coach Satterfield remarked how well you went into contact when you ran.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever think about sliding, or are you just not a slide guy?
I think there was times where I could have slid or got out of bounds. So I think that's something that I definitely need to take into account when I'm running the ball, because I know I don't need to be trying to run into people, run over people. So I think that's just something that I got to think about while I'm on the field.
Sounds like a dumb question, but how do you practice that?
I guess you just think about it. You just put an extra emphasis on it.
It's hard to do in the moment when your inner competitor comes.
Yeah. It definitely is, because you trying to fight for every yard you can get.
It's clear from your career numbers that you worked hard at Georgia Tech to cut down on your interceptions. They went down from year 1 to year 2 to year 3. So what kind of fundamentals or what kind of aspects of the training that went into that in the previous 3 years can you fall back on here? After that game.
It's just really just going back out there, watching the film and fixing your mistakes. I think when you have a game like that, it's good to watch it and just keep analyzing it and seeing what you did wrong and learning from it. And that all goes into your head while you're on the field at practice, while you're on the field in the game, and you just put extra emphasis on it.
How important is it that you really can't go this week in the offense?
Oh, it's really important. Billy is a guy that can do great things with the ball, so we just got to give him the ball.
Do you feel like your experience as a starting quarterback and getting past whether it's a really good performance or a really bad performance, just sort of moving on quickly? Is that your experience help you with that?
Yeah, most definitely, because you know that there's going to be a time where things don't go your way, so you just got to learn how to learn from it and move on and take every moment as a lesson.
What do the TCU games tell you about Colorado's defense?
They're a good team. I'm very excited to play them, and we just got to go out there and play our style of football and execute.
Jeff, given the nature of you transferring here, you took over the starting quarterback job and took over the locker room and looking as a leader. I don't know, do you feel like you're putting extra pressure on yourself because they're looking at you to maybe make a play?
I wouldn't say putting extra pressure on myself because I'm the type of person I always put a lot on myself, but I think that helps me. It helps me as a person just to hold myself accountable to do things that I need to do and just put in the extra work that I need to.
What kind of lift did that make Marcus Washington for the second half kind of give you on Thursday?
Yeah, Marcus is an experienced guy, so anytime he's on the field, he's going to bring that experience role to the table and just go out there and do what he needs to do.
Coach said that Sunday night when you left, you were in here watching film still. Did you watch more after week one, or is that typical for you to kind of burn the midnight oil on that stuff during the season?
Yeah, it's kind of typical. I like to analyze every situation. So I'll probably watch the game and then probably dive into the next opponent. But I just like to be here watching it and just analyzing everything I can.
How different is the spotlight on you now compared to when you had at Georgia Tech? Just the amount of critics, experts, people that probably have made comments about your game, or at Georgia Tech, I'm guessing there weren't probably as many of those people in terms of the fan base.
I wouldn't really say. I would say it's a bigger spotlight, but as far as critics-wise, I wouldn't really know because I don't really pay attention to that type of stuff. I think just being at Nebraska and knowing how big this fan base is, how much they care about football, that's probably the biggest difference with the spotlight. But other than that, it's really all football at this point.
With IGC out, how much extra time have you been spending working with some of the younger receivers, and what do you like about that?
You could tell they're ready to play. You could tell they're hungry, and just making sure that they know that we trust them, that we believe in them, and just making sure that they go out there every day knowing that we're gonna need them to play, and we're gonna depend on them.
What did Satterfield and Coach Steve Michelle tell you in the last couple of days?
Say it again.
What did Satterfield and the quarterback coach, the GA, tell you in the last couple of days about putting the last game into bed and moving on?
I mean, it's football. It's college football. They just told me, like any other coach would say, I mean, we got a game next week, so you can't dwell on it too much. You got to learn from what you did wrong, build on what you did right, and go out there and fix the mistakes.
Is there a specific key that you're looking to target in on when playing those?
Execution, really on all cylinders. So like penalties, pre-snap penalties, and just overall execution of the offense.
How'd your body feel after getting hit first time in a while?
Felt good.
Felt good this week?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, I put on a lot of weight, so it kind of helped me out in that sense. And just the recovery that we have here as a team, they've been doing a good job with us.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Next one.
How's Teddy look? Is he getting closer to where you want him to be physically?
Yeah, I think Teddy's healthy. Just playing football for the first time in a long time. So he's working. I think he's done a nice job this week, and he could see some action.
What have you seen from the receivers this week, especially the young ones trying to crack into the rotation with Isaiah being out for the rest of the year?
Yeah, I think Malachi's done a really nice job. Malachi's really took a step this week, which I think we needed, and I'm excited for him. Josh Fleeks, I thought, had a good week. As an older guy who's played a lot of football for me in the past, he's definitely a playmaker. So we hopefully utilize him, and then I think Jalen's coming along. So we have a group of guys that can all really run. So just got to get them in the game.
I think those guys see the opportunity. Those young receivers, or even a guy like Fleeks who's experienced, like does the fact that Isaiah's out, do something mentally for them.
Yeah, I can't speak for them. I hope so. I certainly hope that they recognize that it's an opportunity for them, but more importantly, the team's counting on them. But all of this is a process, right? All of this it's really hard to be a young player and come in and play right away. So we don't have many true freshmen playing that weren't here in the winter. So they're coming along, and as Coach Paterno used to say, it's better a play too late than a play too early. Some of these guys were working overtime to get them ready. So, well, thank you. Thank you. He knows I like a cup of coffee when I talk to you guys. So, sorry.
Coach Staff was talking yesterday about the importance of, it seems simple, but getting the ball to the guys who can make plays. And, what are the challenge? Some of the challenges of that when you had just 59 offensive snaps in the first game. How do you do that when there are less opportunities? You're not snapping 70 to 80 times a game. What kind of stuff can you do to get that attention?
Sorry, we're still living in. It's like we're living in amongst construction. I think number one, we have to have more plays than that. So only 3 drives in the first half. Some of it being the new clock rules. But a lot of it just being kind of the flow of the game early. And I think that's when you see college football, even the great game versus TCU and Colorado. I mean, it was 14-14 and 14-17, ended up 48-40. So a lot of scoring is going to happen in the second halves, right, as teams kind of get into a rhythm. So I think for us, it's converting third downs, not turning the ball over. When you have 4 turnovers, you're going to have less plays, obviously. And then on defense, challenge those guys to be good on third down. I mean, you look at what Colorado did in the last game. I think they were 5 for 5 touchdowns in the red zone, and they won third down. So we have to be good on third down defense. We have to try to take the ball away. Shador did a great job protecting the football.
What did you like about how your team responded and they worked this week?
Yeah, I have no concerns about our guys ever responding. I think, as I talked about, the 2021, 2022, there's some times with some tough losses where they didn't respond great. I never worry about that with this group. That is the challenge, And then once you get to the game this week, we're going to have to respond. We're going to have to respond to their tempo, the early surge of the game. We're going to have to respond to, it's going to be an electric environment, all the things around the game. But, once the game starts, it's really about what happens in between the white lines. And we got a lot of guys who played a lot of football. We've got guys who've played Ohio State and Michigan and Georgia and Alabama and, Penn State, and so we played a lot of big football games here at Nebraska. So this is another one. This is a great game, and I'm hoping that our guys respond both. They have all week, but they respond in the game to the the highs and lows that come.
Matt, you said earlier that this week you wanted to keep it about the football. How has your team done in terms of, I guess, blocking out some of the hype and the noise? Because it seems like it's really built over the course of this week.
Yeah, I start the season off by, every year I delete Twitter and Instagram, and I just kind of live my life old school. If I want to get the news, I read the paper. You guys all do a great job, by the way. But the players don't. So, I haven't seen them in any way. We don't talk about those things. Nothing about this game for us is anything other than football. It's a great opportunity versus a great opponent. That's me. That's the coaching staff. The players, they've been very focused. They've been very locked in. Our practices have been really, really hard. They've been really, really hard. And I think our guys have responded really well.
When you have a situation like Ty Robinson being out for the first half, does that change how you practice reps-wise through the week?
Yeah. That's a great question. Ty ran some with the ones, some with the twos. The way we kind of alternate, everyone gets equal reps. So, we've always kind of looked at Cam and Blaze as co-starters. Well, now it's Cam and Blaze will start. Ty will wait for his opportunity and then rotate in. Like when we did 2 minute, Ty was out there with the ones because we assumed 2 minutes going to happen at the end of the game. Obviously it could happen at the end of the half, but Ty got a good week of practice in.
Do you think, you kind of talked about how you're not worried about this team responding to adversity. Do you think the difficulty of the winter and the spring kind of prepared your team for those challenges throughout the season?
Yeah, I think it's in their nature. In that, I think you saw that last year. They once kind of, Coach Frost was let go and you saw them just battle back each week, I think it's in their nature. There's so many guys here that are true Cornhusker men that want this program to be great, and they're just built on grittiness. We're not a super flashy organization. We're kind of a gritty, tough. We want to be a gritty, tough. That's our identity, gritty, tough, organization. But we've asked them to do a lot of really hard things. I had one of our starters. I kind of try to meet with some guys on Wednesday and visit with them, and I had one guy say to me like this: since the time we started in January till now, it's the hardest thing he's ever done in his life. And he was saying that in a grateful manner, like, man, if you do this for, look at the freshmen, if they do this for 3 or 4 years, how good they'll be. And so I think we've built some resiliency within the program, but that all comes from the players. We've given them hard things to do, and they've crushed it. Yeah, I think the big thing for us is, it's an 11:05 kick for us, right? Like, the old days, I would have kept all the times the same. You can't do that anymore because everyone's cell phone, adjusts. But, when we were at Coach Coughlin and we went to the West Coast, everything stayed on East Coast time. So we never panicked about, oh, my gosh, it's this. So we'll probably get to the stadium 15 minutes later, instead of most people get there 2 hours before. We get there 2.5, 2:15. We'll probably get there 2 hours before. It's a little bit of a trip from the hotel. But nothing's really different, nothing's really different. We're gonna go see a movie tomorrow night as a team. We're gonna practice tomorrow morning. We're gonna meet. We're gonna go there. We're gonna fellowship. We're gonna get up. We're gonna do our little neuro charge and go to the game and play. So, fortunately for us, it's not a super long flight, and fortunately for us, that time zone, even though it's 10 o'clock, it's really 11:05 for us. Which, the hardest period in practice for us on Tuesday. We do a 2 huddle drill. It's as tough as anything you've ever done, and we did that right at 11:05. And I'd love to say on purpose, but not really. And the guys kind of recognize that, like, hey, it's 11:05. We practice in the mornings on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We should be ready for an early kick.
How did the week kind of go for guys like Jamari and Nick?
Yeah, Jamari and Nick are up. They're ready to play. So Jamari and Nick are up. Great news for us. Jamari and Nick are up. Teddy's up. So anything beyond that will all just be like a coaching decision. Those guys are in shape. I'll be honest with you. Our medical staff, our Dr. Mathieson, our training room staff. We hired Chris Peduzzi this offseason, who was with the Eagles for a long time, along with Drew Hamlin, who's been here and returned to play, and all those guys. They're pretty elite. So the guys come back, they're in really good shape. So Jamari's full go.
Is there a big travel roster change between conference and non-conference for you?
Yeah, we're allowed 74 non-conference. 74 in conference. I think we're taking like 77 or 78 in the conference game. I'm not a big, I don't like to take people just to take them. But, on special teams, there's some guys that are really emerging, which is great. And usually you need those guys to emerge because as you have injuries, you replace those guys with, but, we haven't had a lot, which is great too. So, the Tavion Thompsons, the Elliott Browns, the Braden Clovers. There's more, so forgive me. But all those guys are doing such a great job for us that they're coming along and they could help us on teams. And again, in the altitude, Coach Osborne came talked about the game the other day. Obviously, the altitude will be a factor. We're going to play a lot of guys.
Gabe, had 8 yards to carry, but only 7 rushes. With the nature of this game, do you anticipate maybe getting hit the ball a little bit more?
We'll see. I think anytime someone has 8 yards to carry, they should touch the ball more. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like they should, and had a great long run. So we'll see how the game goes. A large part of this is if they're going to score 45, then it might alter how we play. If our defense plays well the way we think we're capable of, keep it a close game, then we can maybe run the ball a little more. But I think Gabe's a factor, Ramir's a factor. Those guys have to play really well for us. I think they had explosive plays in the last game, 1 on the kickoff return, 1 running, that allowed us to get going. So I'm hoping we start with a little more rhythm than we did the last game. But no matter how we start, we're gonna think about the last 5 minutes of last game and how we can improve that in this game.
Anything else, guys?
Anyway?
Thanks, Coach.
No? All right, y'all. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Coach.